One of the marquee matchups of Week 5 was the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. The Buffalo Bills were extremely aggressive on their final drive of the game when they were backed up massively. Peter, how much of an error was it of them throwing the ball continuously when you know that CJ Stroud is on the other side of the ball and he is going to be able to move the team down the field easily enough to get a game-winning field goal?
I mean, I guess it's the Bills trying to believe in Josh Allen, put the ball in Allen's hands for Allen to get them back into the game. I think late in the game, maybe a bit of egocentric got involved in terms of trying to prove a point because it was a game against Stephon Diggs. But the thing is, and also, they also believe the defense could stop CJ Stroud because up until the point in the game, they've only given up 20 points, was tied 20 apiece. So you're thinking we have enough to stop him, but that wasn't to be the case. I think you should have realized that for a quarterback as good as CJ Stroud is, for a young quarterback like that, just deny any opportunity for him to come back in the game and win it.
And they've got a good kicker. Well, Kayuni Fairbairn, who's a very good kicker.
Especially from 50 yards out, he's automatic. He can hit him. And they didn't trust. They thought their defense was enough to get a stop, and that wasn't the case to be. Plus, when it happened, when I look at the clock and I look at the time that CJ Stroud was getting the ball back, I was like, the Texans are going to win this game because if you look at the time, all he has to do is get them into field goal range, get them to past the 50-yard line a little bit, and they have a chance to win the game. And this game, I'll say, is more of like the Bills lost it in terms of not handling the end of the game properly, game management. That was a fault of the head coach and Josh Allen. They should have handled their end of the game much better.
And if you look at Josh Allen in this game, his stats, he completed 9 passes.
Like I said, they're trying to prove a point. They should have run
9 passes out of 30. 9 for 30. That's bad.
Wildly inaccurate. It was an awful performance. But then also was it? I mean, it was. There's the thing about the NFL, right? Sometimes emotions get involved, and this game was emotions. I think Josh Allen set out to prove a point against Stephon Diggs. People will try to prove a point.
We saw the handshake at the end. That was cold. Cold.
Yeah. You see, it's about trying to prove a point. At the end of the day, they didn't come off, and Josh Allen had his bad game. See, when it comes to revenge games, especially when two players on opposing sides have history and they've had a bit of a falling out, one is going to prevail, one's going to perform poorly. Case in point, if you go back to the Commanders, absolutely kicking the Cardinals' ass, it was billed as Kings versus Kyler Murray. And Murray didn't perform. Kingsbury's offense worked, and they won. So normally in revenge games like that, you ever have a revenge game whereby the two sides, whether player versus another player or ex-coach versus ex-team, one is going to prevail. You ever had one whereby they both ball out? It hardly ever happens. One wins, one don't. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Usually when that happens, you end up with one of the two trying a bit too much, trying to force a few things to happen. Whether it's the QB, whether it's Josh Allen saying, hey, I want to prove a point, so I'm really going to try and force the ball down the field where I shouldn't. I'm not necessarily saying that happened this game because it was such a close game wise, but then you've also got 100%. I know Stephon Diggs went up to CJ Stroud and was like, hey, this is personal, right? You've got to give me the ball.
But what I love about 1 second. One second, before you carry on. But what I love about CJ Stroud in this game is that he didn't force the ball to Stephon Diggs on every target. He played his normal game. If you are open and I think you are the best choice, I'll get you I'll get you the rock.
But he spread the ball out. So
yeah,
he checked the ball down to Agumbawale, right? 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Diggs 6 times. Collins twice. Dalton Schultz, Xavier Hutchinson, Stover tanked out. It was everyone getting the ball.
I think it's different. Stephon Diggs can't really come up to a quarterback like CJ Stroud or Josh Allen. If this was someone like Trevor Simeon, be all over him. Like, he'll be on SportsCenter 100%. But now he's like, no, CJ Stroud is the guy. He's the
No,
face of the
trust me.
team. And
He
he's
would
one
have
of the
gone to
young
CJ's
quarterbacks in
like
the league.
this game, try and get me the rock. He did. But CJ Stroud is the type of young leader who gets it. I will let him know that if you're open, I'll get you the rock. But we can't turn this into a Diggs versus Allen type of game. I can't force feed you the ball because you would have seen that there would have been like 15 targets or 18 targets trying to get to
He had
Stephon Diggs.
8, right?
And that could have, yeah, 8. But
And
see,
actually, when you
games
think
where
about it, right? If you think about it, Diggs a lot of the time has been kind of a. They've either designed the play so that he's like misdirection and they're getting him the ball, right? Or they're trying to check it down to him as well because he's not always catching the ball down the field, right? Massively.
Yep.
Ogunbowale had similar number of targets as him, and he's majority of the time the check down.
Yeah.
They weren't throwing
No.
it down the field much.
No, but they were working the game plan, which is like we're gonna throw it short, we're gonna do it drive by drive, or down by down, try and get to score the touchdowns. But I think the biggest part of it, I give CJ Stroud a lot of credit for handling the emotions or aspects of the game and letting Dix understand that the win is more important. Let's try and aim for the win. I'll try and get you some targets, but I won't force feed you the ball because I know because there are other quarterbacks that have tried that in the past. Oh, it's against your former team. I'm gonna try and get you the rock and targets. They'll target the guy 15 times. 2 of them will be an INT, and they will lose the game. Even though he might have 100 yards and a touchdown, but you're still gonna lose the game. So it's better to play the game and let him still be a function of the reason why you win the game. And I think about the emotions problem I have got to Josh Allen because the accuracy in this game was not there. 9 out of 30, that was wildly like I wouldn't expect him to have 9 out of 30. That's
Actually, if you look at Josh Allen's passing yards, right? He's broken 200 yards twice this season out of the 5 games. Right? He had 139 against Miami, 155 against Baltimore, and 126 against Texans, right? Which means if he comes up against a defense which is kind of good, he's struggling to pass the ball. The 2 defenses he's managed to pass the ball on are Cardinals and the Jags. They're not good pass
very
defense.
bad defenses.
Right?
No, very bad pass defenses.
Right? He's got the Jets next up. It's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
Because Sauce and Co., especially after what's happened this week, it's going to be in the Meadowlands as well. At home, it's an away game for them.
There's a target on their back. They've got to perform now. So that's not going to be an easy. That's not going to be the old Jets. Let's just say that. That's not going to be the Jets we expect. They have to perform now. If they don't live up to the expectations heading forward, then we all know what's the deal with that organization. It makes the owner look bad. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to look bad, but it's going to make him look bad.
Although, if you look at the Dolphins, the Dolphins game, they were up very quickly, obviously, in that one. And then I think that was the game that the game that Tua had the injury, and it kind of just put a dampener on the game, and it kind of just the game kind of like withered to nothing. So, Jets. They've got Jets, Titans, Seahawks, Dolphins, Colts, Chiefs going towards the bye. It's
I think they can.
They're fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
They'll be all right. Yeah.
They're going to be fine, but it's more of just. It's more of are they going to be playing? Are they going to be able to get the passing game good enough to that they're going to be real trouble for teams down the stretch and trouble for teams towards the playoffs as well, because when they play against good teams, they're going to need to be able to pass the ball.
Yeah, I think Sion Coleman needs to kind of step up. He hasn't had that sort of breakout game yet, but I think he's more than capable. Just like with QBs, I think it's literally at some point it's going to click, you know. And I think he has the talent to become that number one. The thing is, he's not a massive deep threat. He's a possession receiver, so he's very much
got 9
basketball on grass. Like,
catches. He's got 9 catches
yeah,
this season.
he's not. Yeah, he's not a deep threat, and I think they're lacking that element in their defense. Whether or not they draft someone like that in the future, or they acquire someone in a team that's probably not going to go anywhere with a quarterback.
Devontae
I'm just putting it
Adams.
out there.
Try and get Devontae
Yeah,
Adams. They need a
he's
player
going
like
to the
that.
Jets, man. He's going to go to the Jets.
He's not.
But Tyreek Hill, there's been some rumbling that he wants to still compete. Don't get me wrong. I think he's made his money. And they need that vertical threat, which they don't have. So that could be an option there. Keon Coleman, I think, is a great complementary if they do that. But it's going to be interesting. But if he becomes that guy, if he becomes that jump ball threat, then yeah, they can do some damage.
All right.